What's up, guys? Welcome to A Vibe Call West Radio. Today we have a very special group. Never have done a group before. I actually have two people on here. I have Crossing Eyes and Dotting T's. How are you guys doing? Could you guys both introduce yourselves so they know the names for both of you guys?
Yeah, I'm Nye. I'm the guitarist in the band.
And I'm Matt. I'm the vocalist and also guitar. He's lead guitar. I'm rhythm.
Love that.
Lead guitar. That's the important part.
Yeah.
The distinction is important, but I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on here. I'm honored to have a band, and I know we're going to dive into all the success that you guys have been having and all the different shows that you guys are playing. I really want to give a shout out to Jackie. Do you guys know Jackie?
Yeah, I met her one time, but no, just through like social media. So
Yeah.
I've known her. Yeah.
She's amazing. She's my publicist, and she's like a rock star. So I want to give
Yeah.
her a big shout out. She always brings on super high quality people and musicians. So really
Yeah.
excited to explore that. So I know you're from Ladera Ranch,
Yeah.
now live in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
And I know that you're from a small town in Iowa.
That's right. Yes.
So what's the transition like coming from Iowa? I actually have a good friend that's from Iowa. She
Nice.
lives in Venice. But I want to know, what's the transition look like from you coming from Iowa to LA?
It helped. I had family out here, so I grew up coming out here, and I always knew just LA was the right spot. I loved the people. This is very kind of controversial to say, but I actually think the people out here are nicer than in the Midwest.
Really.
Look at us.
Yeah.
LA, California people, we're doing it.
Yeah, y'all show up, right?
Yeah.
So I love it out here. And in terms of transitioning, it was just like, just being around creative people just immediately felt like home. And yeah, it's great out here.
I love that. I'm happy that we have altered the perception. I hope everyone's hearing that, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to say, so the name, we were talking about it a little bit. So I know that you naturally would just say it the way that like the
Yeah.
band's name is.
Yeah.
Like that's just like how you would say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to ask, and I was reading that you said that there weren't a lot of other contenders. Were there any other contenders that you could come up with?
That's why I don't even remember. I don't remember. I had like a notes on another phone, like a notes app list of them, but I really can't remember. Nothing that stood out. I remember that one just being the one that like I kept being like, ooh, I just like that one so much. I think I knew it was always going to be it, but I know there was a couple other ones, but I just cannot remember what they were. I wish I could.
And I wanted to hear the process of it, but I love that like when one thing is just like crystallized.
Yeah.
And like that, I'm happy that you leaned into that.
I was super lucky. Like when he asked me to join, the first thing I thought was, oh, good, the band name doesn't suck. Like this is good.
There's
I'm
so
okay with
many.
this.
It's
I feel like
important.
there's
It
so
is,
many
yeah.
bands that have. There's just so many bands in general, but like there's so many bands who have kind of dumb names. You know what I mean? Like
It's hard
like,
to get a good name.
Yeah, I mean, like
especially
just
now.
they're so generic, just so very generic. You know what I mean? Especially in like certain genres, that like kind of were in like the alt genre. I don't know. It's like very so like when you have something that's like Crossing Eyes, Dying T is just so like, well, I mean, some people hate it, some people are like that's too much. It's a mouthful, but I'm like, I think it's just it's very unique. It makes you stand out, even if you jumble it up a little bit, crossing T's or dotting I's. You know what I mean? It's like you remember the name. It's some capacity.
Yeah, I love the name right when I heard it. I thought it was super unique, and I think also it's great when, I don't know, I love the play on words. You're a songwriter, you know what I mean? Like you guys
exactly.
create music, so it's like it all kind of fits into there. So again, thank you guys so much for coming on here,
Yeah,
taking
thank you for having
the
us.
time. I want to say, so for everybody new and old, I'm gonna do a breakdown of the show. So prior to Crossing Eye Dotting T's coming on, I asked what was their favorite album. Matt told me his favorite album was August and Everything After by Counting Crows. So what I did is I went on Spotify. I seeded the songs 1 through 8 based on total number of streams. I put it into a tournament bracket so we can decide what Matt's favorite song on the album is going to be with the help of Nye and me. So how does that sound, guys?
Sounds
Let's
great.
do it.
So before we jump into the questions that I have for this incredible band, let's do the first matchup. And I'm so sorry if it hurts your neck on this one. I can tell you now. So it's going to be Mr. Jones versus Time and Time Again. Off the top of your head, which one do you think is moving on?
It's Mr. Jones.
It's Mr. Jones.
I feel like
I
there's
love.
no
I
way.
mean, it's just because it's my favorite album, and Time and Time Again is honestly like such an underrated one. I get it why it's 8, but yeah, I mean, it just Mr. Jones has to move on.
Why do you
I won't be that guy.
think? Why do you think that song is, one, stood the test of time, and two, like why is it such a good song? Not an easy general question. Sorry.
I think that because it for one, I like it's like very storytelling. It's like a storytelling type song. It like tells a story of something happening. So that for one, I think always, as long as it's a good story that paints a picture, a good imagery, I think that always stands alone in a lot of people's minds as being just better, from my opinion. And I don't know, it kind of sounds. I wouldn't say it sounds too unique or different from the time, but still at the same time a little bit different. His voice is very unique. Adam Durtz's voice is his cadence, everything about it. Like they're not, kind of normal melodies that you'd put in the kind of 90s music that I guess was going on at the time. So it kind of stood out for a lot of people. The same thing. A lot of people hated it. You know, a lot of people hated Counting Crows. A lot of people love Counting Crows. So that one, I think, just probably the same amount of people who hate that song love that song probably, but it's just still just rocking. It's just too good. Good melodies, great songwriting.
So yeah, I mean, like, fantastic answer. First off, thank you for that. I think it's because one, I think it's great. People want to know why musicians like certain songs, because you know we do listen to music in a very different way. You know, I'm not going to say that like it's some proprietary or like way that like no one else can understand, but we're just used to being in there during the process. So thank you for that answer. I also think I love that you brought on like the storytelling of it, because I do think that ascends a song beyond just like ear candy. Yeah. So I agree. Mr. Jones is going on. We will now be doing Round Here versus Perfect Blue Buildings.
Round Here.
So boom, that was quick. Why is that song so quick?
Round Here is so good. It's so good.
But why is it so good?
It is. It's another one that tells a good story. It's a really long song. It's like slower. It's like a ballad type song too. A lot of them are kind of ballads, but that one's like really a ballad, and it tells a really kind of emotional story. And then like there's like a lot of live versions that I'm just in love with, because he changes the way he sings pretty much every time live. So he won't play it like the normal melody, which pisses off some people. But he'll do like just very different cadence or very different way of saying, or just totally different melody for the verses or the choruses and stuff. And or change some of the lyrics and stuff too to make it more powerful. And there's a few ones that are online that are just so good. I just like always been attached to it.
I love that. I was just gonna say I love exactly that when like bands will take a song and they'll like mix it up, and you're not getting the exact same thing every single time. And that song works really well for that.
I know. I don't even really notice it, but now that you brought that up, there are certain artists in my head that I feel like have done that. So that's a different type of mystique that it adds to the song.
For sure.
Great answer from both of you guys. So now I want to go and ask some questions about you guys. Just conversational, just, kind of about the story and also just what's it like to be a musician. So, Matt, I read that you taught yourself basic music theory in 2020 and started playing guitar then as well. That is way more productive than I was during. I was playing so much Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that I was like focusing more on music. So I love that. I wanted to ask, what advice would both of you guys give to someone who feels intimidated to learn a new instrument? And what was the most challenging part of teaching yourself an instrument?
I'll go first, just because since I just started doing it. Yeah, I would say everybody, you can do it. Like if you want to play whatever, like you can do it. Like to a certain extent, like maybe not like I can't shred like Nye can. I'm not like a lead guitarist, but just to be able to do the amount of work to be able to write a song and put together basic melodies and stuff, like you can do it. Or just be able to play any type of song you want, like any normal song, like it's not Van Halen or some shit. Like you can play it, like as long as you just practice and put in some time. I would say that 100%, and just do it. Like just do it. There's nothing else. It's not that hard, honestly.
Yeah, I think the other thing is there's really no wrong way to learn. Like there's a gazillion different genres out there. There's speaking as a guitarist, there's so many different guitarists that all play completely differently. If there's only one right way, then like most of those guitarists wouldn't make the list, But regardless of the genre, whether it's punk or you're shredding or jazz or whatever, like your personality is going to come through it, and that's totally acceptable. You don't have to look like another musician or feel like you're not, accomplishing learning very well just because you don't sound like somebody else.
And I want to ask, so when I'm a rapper, so when like or I know other rappers, when you're starting, is like you kind of emulate the people that you love. Is that the same with guitar? Like, do you study people and like figure out like did you guys have a favorite guitarist and then like try and emulate that a little bit?
I don't personally, no, but that's just because I don't consider, like I play the guitar, but I don't consider myself like a guitarist.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always, I just play rhythm, and I don't even try to do like shreddy stuff. So for me, I mean, I guess like Kurt Cobain, like Billy Corgan, or some that I really like, Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana, of course. But I wouldn't say like I emulate them or anything. I'd say like I just like them in general. So, and they play the guitar. So.
Yeah, I think I'm probably the opposite.
Yeah,
where,
exactly.
Like,
yeah, 100%.
I hear the voicing, like I think of it as a language. So I hear, the phrasing, the voicing, how a certain guitarist will play it, and I'll like try and copy that. And I may not copy it, note for note or the exact style that they have, but it does kind of start to bleed into how I play as well. And so you can hear different guitarists that I've listened to or just tried to copy over the years kind of blend itself together.
Yeah, it's very similar to how, because of flow, it's like almost like its own language is flow. So it's very similar to that, where you try and like emulate the people that you love. So that makes sense. And I always was wondering that this regards with like other musicians. And I also know, so the genesis of your songwriting career was the tragic passing of your cousin. I want to say, really right off the back, R.I.P. But second, I think it's beautiful that whenever there's a tragedy to triumph moment, and the fact that what you've done is really amazing. So I just wanted to touch on that really quick.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I just want to say, as a rapper, my creative process is much more isolated and solo. I'm fascinated with how a band is able to each play a critical part in bringing a song to life. Can you guys please explain your creative process and the role that each of you guys would play in that moment?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I'd say I like this question, but it's always different. I'd say each song, like sometimes it'll be like I'll have like a melody in your head, and then you'll like work it backwards, like reverse engineer to find like the whatever chords are gonna work with it, or like some riff that'll work with it. But I'd say most of the time, like how I do it is I just am riffing around on a guitar until I find something that I like, and then I'll just put in a melody on top of it and just work it out from there. That's normally how I'd say it works. Like the last song that we had released called Shiver, I had the general riff that we were going to have for the song, and then we couldn't really figure out what we were going to do with it. And then we ended up just getting together, and then we just pretty quickly we figured out a bridge for it. So, because there's so many different things you can do. Like there's no, like, just like with learning the guitar, there's no right or wrong way of writing a song. So like a lot of things could work. So you just start bouncing around ideas until you kind of land on one that you really like, I guess. Or sometimes it just happens to be the first one. But that's kind of how I'd say it normally, right?
Yeah, I think with that song that came out, Shiver, there's a process where you're kind of bringing something that speaks to you, right? It might be a guitar riff or a melody. And at least for me, like I'll usually, when Matt has an idea, that sparks something else in me. And I can take that so far, and that will usually hit a wall where I'm like, okay, here's what speaks to me. Does any of this speak to Matt now? And Matt can be like, oh, I love this, this, and this. And you can start to kind of piece it together until you have like a song that really is like, oh, this represents both of us and like what we're feeling and what we want to say out of the song.
Yeah. Because a lot of times with us too, since I don't have the ultimate knowledge of guitar and stuff like that, I just write like what I kind of envision it to sound like, or like this is what I want, and then I'll send, like we're working on one right now where I sent over a riff that I liked and the vibe of what I liked about it, and then I expanded on it and just made it like a lot cooler, So I think like having people that you can collab with and that actually can add stuff helps a lot. And I've always done that with past people too, who've done some leads for me and stuff that I've kind of had the outline, and they help me mold it into exactly what it's going to be.
I love the idea of just like pieces of you are represented in the final product.
Yeah.
And I think it's also just the luxury of having someone to bounce off of is probably so nice.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's, there's so much trust that goes in there, and there's so much like give and take in there. So for you guys to even have an album or have songs that you're proud of, like the process going into that is so, there's so much depth. So I love to hear that. And I also, again, there's just like, it's such an interesting parallel, and like, my rehearsal is just me. So I want to ask, how important is a rehearsal before a tour and a show? And how many times would you say, how many rehearsals does it take for you guys to feel fully comfortable? Because I know in a band, there's so many different moving parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're right now, we're gearing up for a tour right now. So we are doing a lot of rehearsals. Rehearsals are obviously really important. And for us, we don't have like a set in stone full-time drummer. So we sometimes have different drummers come out with us. So this time we have a different drummer. So we've been having to go a little bit extra hard. I'd say, depending on like how much time you have between the tour, I mean, right now we're probably doing like just 6 or so rehearsals before the tour. We're doing we're doing tomorrow.
Yep.
Something like that. Or I don't know when this is coming out, but yeah, tomorrow. So, but yeah, I'd say rehearsal is always obviously important. But I think generally, if people know the songs and you guys are confident in each other, it's not the end of the world, but you definitely need to rehearse and be tight as hell for playing in front of people.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like there's the level, you need to do enough rehearsal that you feel confident with each other, playing around each other. And then a couple more after that, where you, once you are all like locked in together, you can start saying like, how can we make this exciting? What can we do that's different? Like, just take a few steps past that. Enough rehearsals to get to that point. So you're totally comfortable. And really, you're playing, right? Like that's you have to get to the point where you feel like you're playing together, and can have that sandbox that's comfortable for everybody to like bring their ideas and try a few new things out. And you're not just like trying to hit the tracks and get to the show.
You don't want it to be sterile. You want it to have emotion. I feel like that happens a lot when you're under rehearsed and you're a little nervous. So because like it's hard for me to get me and my DJ together.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine the moving parts of a band. Like that's why it makes sense that there's so many rehearsals that go into it because it's such a production. Awesome. Thank you guys for answering those questions. Let's go back now to an album that is amazing. Let's go to the third bracket. I'm sorry about the neck, guys. It's going to be Rain King versus Sullivan Street. What are you feeling right now? Off the top of your head?
Rain King.
All right, that was quick again.
Yeah.
I want to hear both of your guys' opinion on this. Let's go. So why are you leading Rain King and why are you leading Sullivan Street?
I just it's another, it's just like a nostalgia one. I get Sullivan Street. I like it. It's great, but it's another slower one too. That's, I don't know, doesn't impact, it never hit me as much as Rain King did. I don't know. And I liked Rain King because I never quite understood what he really meant, what he was talking about and stuff. I don't know. It's a more fun song too. It's like, it's kind of like dancey more than the other ones. I don't know. I like Rain King.
Yeah, Sullivan.
What you got against Rain King?
No, I have nothing against Rain King.
What do you got against Rain King?
There's nothing against Rain King. Sullivan Street is like, I'm gonna trend towards songs that are just like slow and moody.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be like,
it's taste.
Fair.
Yeah,
it is taste. And nostalgia. I was gonna say nostalgia is a really big thing. Also, whenever I do this with people, I do this exercise. It's like because usually we choose albums that like they represent something to us. So
that's because like Counting Crows is nowhere near our sound or anything like that. It's just they're just my favorite band forever, just because it's just nostalgia purposes. Of
course,
just because my dad is like one of my dad's favorite bands, and I just listen to this album so much, and them just so much. So for whatever reason, it's just this. I have like a handful of other ones that would be like more that sound like us, but I'm like this. I don't care. This is just my favorite.
Yeah, and that's what I want. I want it to be like the personal choice.
Yeah.
Also, really quick before we decide on this, if you guys could cover one song by the Counting Crows and that's on this board, which one would you guys want to do live?
Oh man.
He's a singer, so I'll let him pick. He's got to actually sing.
He's gonna be singing.
I always think about that. I mean, god damn. I guess I'd still say Round Here and turn it into like a more rock version, just because I think that's my favorite song. Honestly.
I love that. Awesome. So, what are we gonna go with?
Rain King for that.
Rain King is going on. I love it. We're gonna go with nostalgia. Let's go with the gut.
Have to.
Now, can you guys? I'm so sorry. I can't see the fourth one. It's Omaha.
Omaha and Anna Begins.
Omaha.
Yeah.
It's Omaha.
Do you guys agree with that one? Do you agree with something?
No, mine's in. I'm Anna Begins. I'm Anna Begins.
All right, let's break it down. Why do you guys each like both of those songs? This is great though. I get to have an analysis on each song. This is perfect.
There's nothing deeper than the fact that I just moved here from Omaha, Nebraska. That was the last city I lived in. And it's not even my favorite song on the album, but it's Omaha.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I knew you'd hear that. I like Omaha, it's fine, but it's just more, it's like kind of country-ish. Like they're honestly, Counting Crows are kind of like have that like folky-ish to that one's very, it's like, it's a good song. I know everything. Obviously I still know it. I love it, but it's just not, it's not that cool. I don't know. It's kind of just like, I don't want to say lame, but it's like the chorus is just like, it's just like whatever. And Anna Begins is like a beautiful, beautiful song. It's like so it's a slow song, but it's a really beautiful song. So it's just like really beautiful.
I feel
can't argue with
it's
that.
tough. I know because it matches the album. I want to give him. I'm feeling the passion.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's beautiful. I gotta give it.
Yeah, no, I mean it's another because they paint a lot of they do a lot of the image. They paint a lot of pictures, a lot of clear pictures, and it's obviously about a girl named Anna. And it's just like when you bring
up the folk and the country, that would be perfect for right now because that's having such a little bubble and surge right now.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I was seeing that like people were saying it's because country is kind of the last thing converting to stream. So like this streaming, that's like the new audience is getting introduced to it because it was mostly older audience, and now this younger generation.
Yeah.
Like I have people on TikTok that are like, you should make a country song. I'm like, there's no way I could do that.
You
I
probably
don't. It's
could.
not. No, it's
You
not in my
could.
bag.
Yeah.
It's not in my bag. I know what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I don't think I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's a
But
lot of genres now.
what do you
A
guys
lot of
think
things.
about like the country boom?
That's a good
I don't
point.
like country music. I just don't like country music.
Neither do
Keep
I
going,
personally.
keep going.
I'm the same way with you.
Yeah.
I understand. I'll respect it. But
Yeah, it's fine.
I
No.
respect the musicians a lot.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
musicians are incredible. I don't. It's not really my thing either. But I had never heard anybody point out the whole streaming thing.
Yeah,
but
me
it's like
neither. It's
back in the Midwest, everyone that loves country is still listening to the radio. So yeah, that makes total sense.
It's converting now. Yeah. So I don't know who I saw say it. It might have been Russ. Russ like brought it up, and I was like, wow, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So awesome, guys. And then what's the name of that? I can't see
Anna
that.
Begins.
And it begins, yeah.
That's moving on.
Okay.
Awesome. Now let's gonna go back to some questions. Thank you guys for
Sure.
doing that. So I know you guys signed to Cleopatra, released your album I Used to Be. So I do know, however, the original name of the album is going to be I Used to Be blank.
Yeah.
But Spotify wasn't open to it. So I want to ask, I love that idea of each individual person filling that in. Like I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Like, I love like unique stuff like that. But when I say that, what comes to your guys' head? What did you guys used to be? What's the first thing that comes to your head?
Fun. For
I
me.
used to be
Or
fun?
happy too. Happy /
okay.
fun. Yeah.
Can
That's
you-
what that was my.
So is that how you felt when you were making the album as well?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I get that.
But I like the idea exactly of you being able to be like, because everybody used to be something,
That's so
whatever,
smart.
whether it's sad or happy. I mean, whatever, literally whatever it is, for good or worse. I feel like you could always be like, yeah, I used to be this or that. Whatever.
What about you?
Yeah, I think the word that pops up is I used to be certain.
Ooh.
That's a good
Can you,
one.
can you please go into that? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think almost everyone in our age group would agree.
Yeah,
no,
I think
for sure,
I think anybody that's in our age group is like kind of hitting that curve where you're like, maybe you went into your 20s, late teens, 20s, early 30s or whatever, and you kind of had the picture in mind exactly of what you wanted to be or what you believed or what you thought. And then you kind of start to, it's not that you run out of road, but you start to you have the opportunity to fulfill that and see where that takes you. And I remember what it used to be like, being like totally sure of who exactly I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and what I accomplish. And now I'm like starting to see like the end of that, where it's like, oh, like that's great, and I'm super thankful for that. But I realize that road's not going to last me forever. Like I have to see where else I need to go, and out of that I become less certain of myself because I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know where I'm going with that.
That is so accurate because I think as you age, your scope expands and there's more. So like when you have this narrow scope, you're like, I want to be this, and then once you figure out that there's more, they're like, oh, I could actually be more things, even if you don't know what that is yet. I want to go. So you were saying like the happy and sad. Do you find that sentiment lives in the songs? I know we were talking about that's kind of your feeling right now. Can you point to certain songs on that album and see?
I wouldn't say exactly. No, not like there's nothing like exactly. Just I think all the songs are just generally kind of sad-ish story type songs. Some of them are like always songs about self-harm or just anxiety, depression, that kind of stuff. Without just obviously upright saying it. So I think it's just that general feeling of the shifting from being a kid, being like having exactly like being certain of things and knowing what you want to do and knowing who you are and not having depression to turning a certain age or whatever and starting to think life starts to get to you, and it starts to wear on you and you just feel like you used to be somebody different. I feel like a lot of people have that feeling. But it's also funny because I still wanted it to be the blank whatever, but Spotify, like when we had released it, the label, when they had put it in, we put it in as like the only way to do it was like putting actual dashes, like a bunch of dashes, and it showed that it was a straight line. But then once it actually got put to Spotify, it showed as dashes. If that makes sense.
Oh, like more like they're like in the center, not below.
No, it was just like
Oh, it like broke it up.
Yeah, like
it
broke
didn't.
up the
So
line.
it wasn't like, got you. Yeah.
So
'cause
we
the
were
font
like,
would make
we were like, what? No. So yeah. So then said we were just like, screw it. Let's just make it. I used to be. So it was like, it kind of sucked honestly, but we could have made it work somehow. But it was just,
I feel Spotify for the deluxe or the
Work on
special or
that.
the 10-year anniversary. Fucking let them do it.
Yeah.
Because I love stuff
figure
like
it
that. Like where it doesn't challenge you, but like again, like the name, it's unique.
Yeah.
And like I love doing stuff like that. So I was really impressed with that. I also read a quote from you, Matt, that you said you're not a fan of when all songs on an album sound similar and are in the same tone. I totally agree with that. And I haven't really thought about that until I read that. I was like, that's actually a really good point. Can you please expand on that quote and maybe give an example of an album that does not do that? That you're like, oh, every song sounds different.
Yeah, I would say it's sometimes I do. It's not like I maybe I misspoke. I don't hate it, but
No,
like
you didn't say dislike.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So I just like when bands, and it's not a ton that do it. I would say, I don't know, that kind of have just a different sound. Because a lot of it you get locked in. I understand. You know, if some band has their sound, they want to be a shoegaze band. You know, you have to make shoegaze music, right? But then it all just sounds. I feel like all the songs sound just exactly the same. You know, it's always the same kind of thing, same thing going on, same tone, same vocals. That's with a lot of bands. Punk, obviously, if you're listening to punk music, obviously it's got to be just punk music. I understand that. I guess I'm not gonna say that.
There's not a country song in there.
They can't do that. But there's a lot of just alternative bands, just rock bands, whatever in general, that just feels like it's the same production, same everything every time. And like for us, I just always like the idea of, and because I'm not like a traditional, classically trained musician at all in any sense, so like I never spent a lot of time sitting down learning other people's songs. So for me, it was always just I wanted to learn just the baseline of music theory, just to be able to start writing some songs. And then from there, I just started riffing around, and whatever kind of came to me, right? So that's why like some songs sound like, we have a song with the band Have Mercy, which is like pop punk emo band. And that song is pretty pop punky, but then a lot of other songs are like pretty grunge, post-grungy emo, right? And then like some of ours are, there's some new metal aspects, there's some shoegaze aspects. Like we just liked it. Not that I'm saying we're so inventive or like unique. It's not even that. It's just I just don't like hearing. I just didn't want to be a band that had the same songs after one after another. Just it's just a different variation of this song. You see that all the time. You know?
Don't you hate it when an album blows up? I won't throw anybody under the bus, but when an album blows up and you listen to like the 3 hits off the album, and it's like all 3 have the exact same chord progression, and they're like even in the same key, and you're like, they just did the same thing 3 times.
It 3 times. Yeah. They were. Yeah, you know, it's really funny that you brought up like bands doing it. You know, like so it's like, but also kind of artists do it. Like if you think about like Taylor Swift, she'll have like a folk album.
Sure.
She'll have
definitely.
this songwriter album. So it's interesting. I think, because I'm also not classically trained. I think sometimes like if you're not like that, you just go off of like, not vibe more, but you just like whatever sounds good. You're like, I'm just gonna do it, and I don't think about the constraints of X, Y, Z.
You're not trying to be like, yo, I need to write a emo song, so I'm gonna use these specific chords. You know what I mean? Or I'm not, you know what I mean? Something like that. So it's just kind of whatever works. If it works, let's just do it. But I get why people want to hear the same songs over from their favorite band. I understand. Like if a band totally changes their tone or changes their genre, it could mess with people, but it's just the way that, I don't know, I've always been.
Some artists are good at it, like Tyler, the Creator. Every album is different. Kendrick's are like that. I want to ask now, what's your favorite album of all time? Because I know we're not doing it right now, but.
Yeah, if I were to have mine up here on the list, it'd probably be Octung Baby by U2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one.
A very uncool band to like, but
why? No, I think they're great though. They're big for a reason.
They are big for a reason.
Like Imagine Dragons. No, I'm joking.
No comment.
All right, so I know you guys have had records like Hard to Breathe get Spotify editorial placements, and I wanted to ask both of you, as musicians, would you guys rather have a Spotify editorial placement or have one of your song snippets go viral on TikTok? What do you think is more impactful and beneficial for an artist's career?
TikTok. Yeah, TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, Spotify editorials are cool. They're good. They don't get you like a shit ton. Like if you're on like the huge ones, like the ones that we've been placed on I think 3 or 4, and they're always just like the medium level of strictly alternative rock. So if you're getting onto like the New Music Fridays or those ones, like you're gonna be racking them up. But for the most part, it's not. It definitely gets you listeners, it gets you saves and whatnot, but it's not some crazy thing. Like we just had a song. One of the songs on our album called November Cold, not blow up on TikTok, but somebody posted it, some music page posted it as a song of the day, and it got like 100,000 views, and it got us a ton of streams. Still getting us a lot of streams. It's a most streamed song by far, but right now, so it's still going. So I'm like, that's 100% like TikTok, because that was just one video that did well. So like if we keep doing that. I think TikTok 100% is better. But if you get onto multiple Spotify playlists and they keep racking up, it's definitely just as good, or it would be, but because they'll start pushing you in the algorithm a lot more. But TikTok is just where everybody's at.
It's where everyone's at right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when it comes to TikTok, there's, people are sharing it because they love it.
Yeah.
Editorials are awesome, and it gets more ears on it. But just like, there's still, even just like business aside, there's still that extra step of knowing like somebody, is using the song or listening to the song because they actually connected with it.
And it's a couple of things with that. I agree with you guys. I used to think the opposite, but I agree with you guys. I think one thing about Spotify editorial placement is like it's a little passive.
Yeah.
Like they can like the song, do they know the person? But like on a TikTok post, like if the person's talking about you, they're getting more information. So they're actually going to know the band. I also, and that makes sense. I didn't even think about like the levels of placements as well. So.
Yeah, but I like, I mean, the Spotify, like, it makes you feel, when you get the editorial playlist, it honestly feels good.
Of course,
it feels like
it's quality.
like you've been seen, kind of like this, because like for those, it has to be an editor at Spotify that comes across it and hand picks it and puts it on there. So it's like, all right, that's nice, and they've been helping us out, I guess, ever since like a couple of years ago. Like every time we put out a single now, they've been helping us out. So it's like it's cool, but they have been pushing us though. So it's like they've been putting us on these same 2 ones or 1 or 2. And then you get off them, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, but it's like, damn, like, do they keep putting us on them? It's like, I wish they would just like keep snowballing them like at the same, because they do it for a lot of artists. But it's cool. It's just it makes you feel good that you've been seen, I guess. But TikTok overall, I think, is definitely just gonna help if you can actually get seen on there.
Yeah, it's massive right now. Spotify, put me on an editorial. Come on, I'm doing a podcast. And I'm doing a song. I'm joking.
Yeah, show them some love.
Please, come on. It makes sense. Put a white rapper on. And then, sorry, I want to stay on this thread. And Matt, I saw you. You cited Instagram as a tool that you used in the beginning to really network and stuff. So I want to ask both of you guys. I personally see Instagram as a almost creative LinkedIn now. I feel like that's where I do a lot of my networking. What advice would both of you give to aspiring artists about leveraging social media for both networking and marketing?
Definitely just to connect with people, like actually connect with people. What I like in the beginning, I did a lot of that, connecting with people. Obviously, posting, you have to post, you have to do what they want you to do, reels, whatever at the time they want you to do, and do like advertisements and stuff. Put ads on your stuff. That definitely gets eyes on them. But yeah, I think just definitely interacting with people, and once you come across, if you're in the music world, finding any type of producers, engineers, people who run live sets, just anything, people in the music scene, people who run shows, just connect with them, follow them, say what's up, don't be weird, but just just send it. Don't say like I want to play a show, or just
just the cold I want to play a show.
Yeah, I mean introduce yourself, follow them, make sure they follow you back. If they follow you back, you can hit them up. I mean, even if they don't, you can still hit them up, but just introduce yourself or whatever it may be. But I just say always connect with people. Like we just got asked to do a little festival up in San Francisco called Twin Peaks Sessions. They do like a live session, like outdoor, like acoustic on top of a rooftop. They also run like a radio show up there. And I've just been connected with him, this guy named Mike, for like 3 years since I started, just because I came across their YouTube. And I just have been following him, and we've been talking back and forth, yada yada. And then he just asked me to do that. So it's like you're like just connect with people constantly and interact with them, and everything's gonna work out as long as you're putting out good, proper music
100%.
and doing the work on Instagram and making yourself look professional and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I want to say really quick, you said it kind of like quickly, but for everyone listening, just there's decorum and there's professionalism when you're trying to network on Instagram. Don't just hit up like, what can you do for me? Like, can I play a show? Like build real relationships, make it non-transactional. Yeah. I think that's really, really
especially
important.
in the beginning. If you have no leverage, if you don't have any type, you don't play shows, what I mean? You can't just be like, hey, I need this. But if you're, of course, already somebody, you can be like, hey, I'd be interested in playing a show. But like, yeah, if you're just starting out, you got to play the game.
Yeah, of course.
100%.
But I think it's a great lesson for artists, because I've seen it. And so just everyone listening, please listen to that. So now, guys, let's go back to the board, though. We got to do the semifinals. So the first round of the semifinals on the left is going to be Mr. Jones. Can you please read me the name of that
Anna
one?
Begins.
All right. Please break it down. What are you feeling?
It's got to be Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones is firing through right now.
Yeah, it has to be. I will not be that. There's always that guy who's like, oh, that's not my favorite song. It's not on this, but it's not like
Yeah.
It's not at the bottom. It's definitely still.
It's
like,
a
one of
good
the best.
song.
It's a great.
Sometimes
good. It's a good song for a reason. It's a hit
Yeah.
song for a reason.
And it's not like some like pop record that's like a hit song because it's manufactured.
For
It's
sure.
different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but like when I want to dive into it really quick. Like when you look at those two songs, what about? You kind of already broke it down, but is it just again? It's like the lyrics and the song and like the story of it
I
that pushes it over for you?
I mean, I guess there's no way of like exactly explaining why you like why you like one song more because they're both very similar-ish. So, I mean, Anna Begins is slower and it's not as like I don't think it's as like fun. There's no like dancey type stuff, but it still tells a kind of story not similar to Mr. Jones, but they're both stories kind of about girls and that kind of stuff. So they're similar in that sense, but I see Mr. Jones. There's a reason why it climbed the ranks. It stands to the test of time and whatnot. So.
I want to ask, when you guys listen to songs, like some people when they first hear a song, they listen to lyrics, they listen to melody, listen to drums, guitar. What do you guys listen to first? What catches your ear?
What'd you say?
This is kind of nerdy, but I think actually I listen to arrangement first.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
I and not just arrangement, but also like, there's only so many chords to use, and there's it as songs will kind of mess with the arrangement, or maybe there's a moment in it that's like really weird timing or anything like that. I'm always like the first listen through is just like what about it is different, and then when I go back a second time through, then I can start listening to lyrics, like start appreciating it for like I want to give it at least 2 chances for it to be like, what about it jumps out at me, but then also give it a chance to say like, what about it jumped out to the artist when they made it, and like, was it important enough for them to put it out?
Definitely. I love that.
I'd say mine's always just like a feeling, because like I like a lot of different genres of music, just not like country and maybe like EDM.
Getting dogged on right now.
yeah. But like just because I don't know, it's always like it's not like I wouldn't say I listen to anything I guess first or last. I think it's just always just all accumulation of the song in one. But I don't know, usually I'd say, especially nowadays, my ADD's been going crazy. It has to hit me like right away. Like that's why a lot of our songs too, I like to make it like right away, something happening. So you don't have to do like a Neil Young intro or, wait for a minute for something to happen. It's just, you can't do that anymore. But so I'd say just I don't even know, because I don't have like a bunch of favorite artists either. I like to just listen to like a station and put it on shuffle, because normally the songs are going to be good, but like a lot of them sound similar, right? But then there's that one that's just like, ooh, I like that, but I can't exactly explain what it is. It's not like the riff is better. It's not like, it's just like, I don't know, there's just always like a culmination of the voice with the vocals, with the atmosphere of the song. I don't know.
The emotion.
But I love vocals too. I'm huge on actual lyrics, not vocals. I can handle like any type of vocals, but lyrics, like if there's dumb lyrics or like takes you out, it's like, or they're very like repetitive or just something like that, I'm like, it could take me out of liking a song 100%. Or if the flow is kind of just choppy or weird or something. But for the most part, it's just kind of just a feeling.
Yeah. Well, it's like, the choice. It was just a gut feeling. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. So those are both great answers. Now, guys, let's do the other semifinals, which is going to be Round Here versus Rain King. Excuse me.
Round Here.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. What is? Because I know these are both very popular songs.
Yeah. Round Here is just that's my number one. That's gonna be Mr. Jones too. Spoiler alert. That's, Round Here. It's just,
you guys got to keep watching though.
Yeah, it's not over.
No, it's beautiful.
I might throw a wrench in it. We'll see.
I don't know. It's just great. I think it's just I don't know. Ranking's cool too. I think that if there was like one of these on the other side, it might have been. Like, I like Anna Begins Time and Time Again a lot, which I didn't know Time and Time Again was number 8 on the board. But yeah, Perfect Blue Buildings is beautiful too. That's tough that was with Round Here, because Perfect Blue Buildings would have beaten Rain King. A lot of them wouldn't beat a Rain King.
The matchups really define the bracket.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like I'll be doing it with someone and they're like, damn, why are those two songs?
Yeah. I didn't realize Rain King was number 3. That's okay. And Omaha's 4. Okay, shit.
Yeah.
All right, dang, I didn't realize that. Omaha. That's what it sounds like. Round Here.
You guys got a little flavor of it.
Yeah.
Look at that. Awesome.
They're
We got a performance,
copyrighted.
interview and a performance.
Yeah.
There it is. Awesome, guys. So before we do the finals, I just want to do one more question really quick. Thank you guys for answering these, by the way. So I know that you guys have a Midwest run of shows starting June 28th. And that includes Pugfest.
Yeah.
And I know that 2 weeks ago, you guys just came off Southwest kind of run. So I want to ask, which city had the best food, which city had the best crowd, and which city surprised you the most with either its food, people, or beauty? Like aesthetically, not like.
I don't think we ate a single real meal.
Yeah,
so
I feel like that's what
food-wise-
happens.
Is that
on tour.
true?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
What a
just-
burger.
Yeah.
That's a real
Yeah.
meal.
Huh?
That's a real meal. No,
No, I don't think we did not have a single. Did we?
I thought we did.
When? We
I don't
did
know.
not sit down and have
It's a blur.
in the city. We had Cracker Barrel. We didn't
Oh,
have
no,
like-
I can answer
we,
this
we
question.
didn't have a flavor of it. All right, go.
All right. The best meal we had was actually this incredible family in Austin that hosted us and made us breakfast tacos.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
was.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
was-
does sound
That's
fire.
yeah. That was
Dude, shout out that family. I want
Yeah.
those tacos.
Yeah,
That sounds
Logan
fire.
They were
Greenberg,
great.
man.
Okay, so
yeah.
Austin food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were trying to save as much money.
Of
And
course, no, yeah, I
and
get
we were
that.
we were normally, I think Austin was the only time where we had time. Like every time we would be just barely getting there for
Car,
like the
yeah.
show. Like we were
Yeah.
like we didn't have time to like hang out for most of the time. It was like city to city every day.
And you guys are driving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Albuquerque, on the last one, Albuquerque, it was like a at capacity show, and it was like at this DIY space and like
Awesome.
a small
That's
little art
dope.
space, whatever. And it was popping. And we played Mesa Music Fest in Mesa, like Phoenix, Arizona. That was really cool too. We what else was super fun? But yeah, I'd say those were probably the best ones.
Yeah.
right?
Albuquerque was.
Vegas was also super sick. Vegas was the first show that first show on the tour. That was super cool too. They were all
Vegas
fun.
is a dope first show.
The first half of the tour was honestly probably a little bit better than the last half, but it was still fun.
I was just getting tired. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to say
Oh,
that.
it's a
but-
lot, yeah.
like
Yeah.
that many miles on the road.
I was gonna ask, last question. What I've never played a music festival. What is that like? Because you're in front of a new audience.
Yeah, it's so like Mesa Music Fest. It's like it's a festival, but like it has some big names on it, but it's like spread out throughout the city. It's one of those
Got it.
ones.
So it's like South by, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like South by. So it's just spread out through the city. But luckily, we were at like the main venue. Like this, there's like a main venue. It's called the Nile Theater, which is like 1,000 theater, 1,500 theater, and then like right under, like you just walk downstairs, and there's like called the Nile Underground, just like a 400, 350 or something capacity. So we played there, and luckily they did it where like they had somebody playing at like 3:30 up top, and then 4 o'clock down at bottom
Smart,
to 4:30, so people would come down. So it was fun. It's great. I mean, a lot of the tour, it's a lot of people that were in front of new people.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's just always a great opportunity. I mean, it's always just like, all right, let's just get some new fans. You know.
You feel it though. I feel like I could tell that I was like playing to new people.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like trying to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some
A
girl
little
in
more.
one of the in Mesa. I just knew she was talking shit, right? It was in my
Yeah.
head. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude,
I
it'd
could
be
just see
mine.
her. I could just see her. Just kept whispering. But then her guy was dancing, so I don't know.
Yeah,
But it was definitely in my
it
head. But yeah,
bounced
so
out.
sometimes that happens. I try not to look at the crowd sometimes.
Oh yeah, I feel like you gotta look at everyone's forehead.
Yeah.
If I
Most
look at
times,
somebody's-
smart.
most times the
Yeah,
lights are so
that's-
bright that you can't even see. Honestly.
Yeah,
But-
they have like the headlight.
Yeah.
The house
Yeah.
light's
Yeah.
just beaming. and
Yeah,
it's like-
a lot of times I'll just look just above everybody, but sometimes I'll do a quick glance, see someone talking shit, and just might remember that for after the show.
Bruh, I'll tell you guys one really quick funny story. So
Yeah.
I went on tour with Swayze. I was like the opening act there.
Oh, yes.
But it was dope. But it
That's
was the
sick.
first night of the show. We were in Detroit, and this couple comes up to me and they're like Grandview. I'm like, holy fuck, like, no way. They're like, yeah, like we listen to your music all the way up here. I'm looking at my DJ. I'm like, okay, we're doing it. and they go, I'm just so surprised. Like I thought you'd have a whole band. I was like, what? They're like the band Grandview. I'm like, you guys listen to a completely other person besides me.
no.
So that threw me off like the
That's so
entire
funny.
night.
Oh my
We have it on
God.
camera too. We have the
That's
interaction.
hilarious.
It
The
was
whole
so
time your
great.
brain's just like, this is
Oh,
not
shit.
what
Yeah,
you're
like,
here for.
like it's just like you're looking at the person. I'm like, don't look at that person.
Crazy.
Don't look at that person.
Swayze, that's sick.
Yeah, he's the
I used to
man.
listen to Swayze a lot.
He's
Yeah,
great.
that's awesome.
Shout out
Sick.
Swayze. You're the homie.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
I love you, man. He's big brother. He's a great guy. But
Yeah, sweet.
awesome. Yeah, that's what we just wanted to know about music festivals. That sounds sick.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys have answered my questions. I got one more though. We got to do the final. I know you might think that you know the answer. You don't though. We're gonna throw you a wrench in it. All right, round here versus Mr. Jones. What's it gonna be, Matt? Come on.
We're out here.
Ooh,
It's gotta be around here.
guys, never
As
saw
if
that
you
coming.
didn't see it coming.
They didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too good of a song.
Did you know when you looked at the board that it was gonna win? Or
Yeah.
did you have to start? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Well,
like it's not my favorite Counting Crow song, but it's definitely my favorite song off this album for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
What's your favorite Counting Crow song?
It's called Untitled. I think they do a cover of somebody else's song. It's called Untitled in parentheses Love Song, and it's just
Fire.
beautiful.
I'm gonna listen on the way home.
They have a bunch of beautiful songs. I say Counting Crows is they get laughed off because of like the Shrek like accidentally in love song and stuff. Like, oh, it's a Shrek band and then Mr. Jones band, but it's like their songs are they're so like they're poetic. They're just beautiful, and his lyrics are just like they're just so out there, so weird, and like you could put like any type of interpretation onto them. They're so unique. I think it's awesome.
And you're a lyrics
All the
guy.
songs. Yeah, definitely.
So that makes
So,
sense.
yeah, definitely.
Also, for anyone saying about first off, they're re-releasing Shrek 2 in theaters
Oh, are they?
this
go.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what? I don't know if it's in that Shrek,
I
but
think
if it is, I'm gonna be
is.
excited
I think
to hear
it is,
it.
right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Is it
that sounds-
actually?
I think it is.
You
Yeah.
know what?
No,
Counting
When
Crows.
was Shrek? When was Shrek? When was the first
Wait,
Shrek?
you think it was the
2000
first one?
What was the year of Shrek?
2005. If I know
Was
that, it's kind of sad.
Okay, then yeah.
like 2005. You know what I mean?
Very impressed.
I don't. I maybe remember less about
Pull that
the
up.
re-release of it.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
funny.
know that.
Yeah, I don't know. Who
No,
knows?
but yeah,
It probably was.
That's great. Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much for answering all my questions. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Before we leave, because you guys have done the gauntlet, is there anything you guys want to plug? Where can everyone find you guys?
Wherever.
Not physically, like
Yeah.
social.
Yeah.
Socials.
43. Any Spotify, Apple, Deezer, YouTube, whatever you use, Bandcamp, whatever.
Title.
I think Title, pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Tidal.
Yeah, I don't see why not. All
Why
that good stuff.
not?
Instagram is Crossing Eyes Dotting T's Band, or Twitter is CIDT Band, and TikTok is Crossing Eyes Dotting T's Band. So that's pretty much everything.
And we'll be on the road.
Yeah, we'll be on the road in
Yeah.
the Midwest in like a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm rooting for you guys super hard. You guys are great guys,
you.
incredible musicians. Had so much fun today. This is awesome. For everyone, please go and check out their music. It is fantastic. The story is fantastic. You guys now know the people behind it. Make sure to follow them on all their socials. I will be plugging it all, so it will be really easy for you. Really quick, thank you guys one last time. Please drive home safe. Have an incredible summer. Vibe Call West Radio episode done.